Welcome back! Welcome back. Hello, Bubble.
Hello.
We are going to be making some double chocolate brownies today. They are a sort of semi-secret recipe. Can't really say that, can I?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Just going to blow the lid off this, so that's good. But I have been sending it to a few friends during lockdown, so it might as well share it with all of you. And this is a request from my other beautiful cousin, Al Lawrence. Please keep those coming because I'm slightly running out, I think. I think I've got about 10 more to do, so...
That's a fair few.
It is a fair few. So, today, double chocolate brownies, really, really simple. You're going to need 100 grams of a white chocolate, or you can use chocolate buttons, 200 grams of dark chocolate, you're going to need 3 eggs, 325 grams of caster sugar, 130 of plain flour, and 175 grams of butter. And then I've got a mixing bowl. We're going to do everything in, but we're also going to have it over a pan of water so we can melt the chocolate au bain-marie. We need some scales and you need a dish and some greaseproof. So first things first, we're going to measure out the chocolate and the butter and get that melting. So first things first, chocolate. So I know that these are 100 gram bars, just double checking, but these are 100 gram bars. So what we're going to do to break them up, we're just going to smack one end, smack the other, same on this one. So those are then nicely broken up. So we'll just add them into our bowl, sorry. It's a nice quick way of getting your chocolate pretty broken up. It just looks like that. There are a couple of bigger bits, so just give them a snap, but it will all melt down. Next thing we need to do is then just weigh out our butter. So I'm just going to cut where I think about 175 is. That's only 100, so we need 75 more. So that's just going to go in as is into our pan like that, and we're just going to put that on a medium heat to start to melt. Next we're going to weigh out our sugar, so that can just sit and wait for the chocolate to melt. So 325 grams. We are obviously doing, our tray is just for sort of scale about that size, and this recipe you can double to make more. You can obviously half it. These are not healthy brownies, so please don't be upset by the amount of sugar and butter that go into them. So we have just let this sit here and melt. It's probably been on for about 10 minutes-ish. It'll obviously depend on how cold your butter is, and ours came straight from the fridge. So at this point, obviously don't be sort of fiddling it around too much because you don't want the chocolate to split. But at this point, we are going to give it just a little stir just to try and help those bigger lumps along. This really, it shouldn't split. It should come together nice and smoothly just because the amount of butter that's in there. So I'm just going to try and break up the bigger bits, help them along a bit. And then just let it sit there until it goes a nice smooth consistency and has all come together. So our chocolate and butter have melted together and nice and smooth. This is the sort of consistency you're looking for. We're then going to go in with all of our sugar. Next stage is we're going to weigh out our flour, 130 grams of plain flour, and we're going to mix in our sugar. So what you're trying to do, you've just taken this off the heat, so the bowl is quite warm, and you just want to almost just sort of melt the sugar into the chocolate.
Oh, so that looks healthy.
Healthy. It will go through a few stages, so this one is always a bit of a worry. Everyone's always like, oh god, I've ruined it, because it all sort of, it does look a bit
Globulated. It looks a bit globulated.
Bit grainy, but fine. That's all happy. Next is your flour. And again, give that a stir. You want it just to be well combined, and you'll watch the magic happen when we add the eggs. So again, this part, it's going like a pretty solid ball. Don't panic about it. It's all good, I promise. So it has gone pretty solid. Again, just don't panic. Don't worry yourselves. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our eggs. All 3. And then this bit is fun, but also a bit tenuous. So you can't just beat it because you see what's happening. It's sort of all slightly, looks like it's sort of splitting. It will come back together. So just work it in, and then you want to just try and give it a beat without it going everywhere.
Look at that. I was going to
It's
say
like magic.
This is like super easy to do with if you've got children, but then there's quite a lot of sugar.
Yes.
Look
Sorry.
at that.
So just keep beating. Oh, you want it to just like as it is, but just make sure it's all really combined. You do not want little eggy bits. Right. So that is the consistency that we want. So now we're going to go in with our white chocolate. So again, we're just going to smash it up. This one we are going to break into pieces. If you're using chocolate drops, obviously no bashing required. You can also put walnuts in, you can put whatever you want really. I have done it with marshmallows before. It didn't work that well, did it? If you're doing drops, tiny little ones, just be careful that it is quite warm still. Because this is quite big, they're quite big pieces. I know that it will be fine.
As in they won't melt.
As in they won't melt. She says. Fingers crossed.
Whilst you're mixing.
So we're just going to pour this into our dish, and I just need to make sure it does cover the sides. Obviously, if you're using grease-proof, this would be probably a bit easier. We don't have any, so...
No. But we're all about sort of like the reusing.
Get it all in, and then we're just going to smooth it out so that it, as you can see, some of our chocolate is melting a little bit. Really don't worry, it's absolutely fine. So we just need to push ours into the corners so that it is all of a similar thickness. There we go. Give it a bit of a shake around, make sure it's all good. So that's going to go into an oven at 150 degrees. So preheated oven, 150 degrees for, I'm going to check it at 35 minutes. For our tray, I think that should be fine, but slightly bigger, go a bit longer. Hello!
Hello.
Again. So the brownies have come out. They were actually in. So our ones are probably about that thick. Don't know if you can see that. And they were actually in for about 45 minutes. So the way that you can tell whether they're done, this is quite hot still, but I now shake. They are super squidgy to touch. Definitely don't do anything with them. Leave them in there, go completely cold. But if they wobble, like you can tell there's liquid, leave them in. So ours were in for 45 minutes-ish. They're quite thick, obviously. They also will start to crack. So these have now been out of the oven for 5 minutes. They've sunk slightly, which is fine. And they're starting to pull away from the edges. So all of these are really good signs. They smell really good.
They do.
So yeah, that is our brownie recipe. And that was for Lawrence, my beautiful cousin, who loves these. So hopefully she'll make some and then you can send us your creations. And that's us for today. Enjoy, happy baking. Bye.